Hello, my name is Bob Saunders, and I would just like to speak to you about a few things that God says. And in His Word, He says that Jesus is come to set the captives free. Now, He sets the captives free so that we are free indeed, not only to believe His Word, but to walk in His ways. And He sets us free from our past and the things that have happened. Some things that have been quite bad in our lives. And it's God that sets us free from these things because they can affect us and they can affect us all our lives. So I want to tell you about a story about a soldier in the Second World War. Now this soldier was a country lad, and he got caught up into the army, and in those days, right at the beginning of the Second World War, the threat of invasion was very real. And he found himself down on the East Coast, guarding the beaches. And one of the things that the army were doing in those days were putting in minefields. They put in a lot of minefields. And they used to put signs up on the minefields to actually warn the enemy that there was mines there. And the idea of that is to protect the area behind the minefield and then steer the enemy to the sides where they would attack them. And so that was a principle. But the thing is with minefields, especially with lots of other civilians around, they had to put guards up to stop people walking into these minefields. And this soldier was on guard duty, and it was early morning, and he had to see behind him, and open fields were in front of him. And he was up on a slightly raised hill. Now, again, right at the very beginning of the war, there was not enough rifles, and there was not enough ammunition to go round. And when this soldier was first guarding, he was given a pickaxe handle, and that was all he had. And then when he was given a rifle, he didn't have any ammunition. And that's how it was on this particular morning. Just getting light, and he heard a plane coming in from over the sea. And it was a friendly plane, it was a British plane. And it obviously had been shot up. It was on fire. There was problems with it. And as it flew over him, the pilot bailed out. And the plane went on and crashed a few miles further on. And he could see that the pilot come down in his parachute about 3 fields just the other side of the minefield. And he could just see him gathering up his parachute and collecting it all up and carrying it. And then he started to walk towards where he was. And he walked through one field and then walked through the next field. And then to his horror, he started to walk towards the gate that opened up into the minefield. Now, the problem with this soldier is that he had a very, very bad stutter. And he could hardly speak with his stutter. And so he didn't have any ammunition in his rifle, and he tried to shout, and he tried to wave and try to get this pilot's attention, but he tried his very best. But the pilot walked through the gate into the minefield and trod on a mine and was killed. Now, that soldier was my father. And later on in life, my father developed Alzheimer's, dementia. And at some stages, he didn't even know who I was. That's how bad things had got. And it was during that time, when he was at a peaceful time, he told me that story and a few other things. He'd never told my mum. He's never told my brother or my sister. He just told me. And since I've been a Christian, I've realized, that the things that happen in our past, we hold on to them. My father had held on to that all his life he'd held on to that secret. And can you just imagine how, first of all, going through something so dramatic and so difficult to cope with, and then holding on to it, not being able to share that with anybody. But when Jesus comes into our lives and he sets us free, he wants us to cast our burdens and our past upon him, so that we are free to walk with him, free from the effects of our past. My father then didn't know Jesus, and the next time I speak, I'm going to share how God broke through the Alzheimer's, and my father come to know him. So I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you again. Bless you. Thank you.